There was a time when the fate of continents depended not on Europe, not on China, but on an empire rising from the sands of West Africa, the mighty Mali Empire. In the 13th century, while medieval kingdoms struggled in Europe and trade routes shifted across the Mediterranean, Mali emerged as a silent giant. Its story begins with a legendary leader, Sundiata Keita, who united fractured Mande clans after defeating the powerful Sasso kingdom at the Battle of Karina around 1235. This victory was not just a military triumph. It laid the foundation for a political system that balanced authority with local autonomy. From the savannas to the edges of the Sahara, Mali expanded steadily, controlling vital trade arteries that connected sub-Saharan Africa to North Africa and beyond. What seemed like a distant kingdom in the African interior would soon become indispensable to the global economy. Mali's true power was not only its armies. It was gold. Beneath its soil lay some of the richest gold fields in the medieval world, particularly in regions like Bambouk and Bouré. At a time when gold was the backbone of international trade, Mali controlled an estimated half of the Old World's gold supply. European economies relied on it. North African markets thrived because of it. Even Middle Eastern commerce felt its influence. Caravans crossing the Sahara carried gold northward and returned with salt, textiles, horses, and knowledge. Cities like Timbuktu, Gao, and Jen became thriving commercial hubs. The world depended on Mali's gold to mint coins, finance trade, and stabilize currencies. Yet beyond Africa, few truly understood where this wealth originated. Mali was the invisible engine behind medieval prosperity. In 1324, the empire's wealth was revealed in spectacular fashion. Its ruler, Mansa Musa, embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca that would become legendary. Traveling with tens of thousands of attendants, soldiers, scholars, and slaves, and camels carrying vast quantities of gold, he crossed the Sahara into Egypt. In Cairo, Musa distributed so much gold that he reportedly caused inflation, disrupting the local economy for years. His generosity stunned observers and placed Mali on global maps, including the famous Catalan Atlas of 1375, which depicted him holding a golden orb. For the first time, the wider world realized that immense wealth existed deep within Africa. This was not a peripheral kingdom. This was an empire whose resources could shift economic balances thousands of miles away. But Mali's greatness was not measured only in gold. It was also measured in intellect. Under Mansa Musa's patronage, Timbuktu transformed into a beacon of scholarship. The renowned University of Sankore attracted scholars from across the Islamic world. Thousands of manuscripts were copied and studied, covering astronomy, mathematics, medicine, theology, and law. At a time when parts of Europe were still emerging from intellectual stagnation, West Africa was preserving and expanding human knowledge. Libraries flourished. Mosques such as the Djinguereber Mosque stood as architectural masterpieces. The empire invested in education, proving that its influence extended far beyond commerce. The world depended not only on Mali's gold, but on its intellectual contributions to the broader Islamic scholarly network. Mali's geographic position made it the bridge between worlds. Through trans-Saharan trade routes, it connected the forests of West Africa with the Mediterranean coast. Berber traders, Arab merchants, and African caravans interacted in a complex web of commerce. Salt from the Sahara was as valuable as gold in southern markets. Ivory, cola nuts, and slaves were traded alongside manuscripts and luxury goods. Mali ensured safe passage across vast desert corridors, stabilizing regional trade. Without Mali's political control, these routes would have fractured. In many ways, Mali functioned like a medieval superpower, regulating resources, protecting commerce, and influencing distant economies without direct conquest. Its stability allowed entire regions to prosper. Yet no empire remains unchallenged. After Mansa Musa's death in 1337, succession struggles weakened central authority. Rival factions competed for power. Provinces grew restless. Meanwhile, a rising force in the east, the Songhai Empire, began asserting dominance over key trade cities like Gao. By the late 15th century, much of Mali's territory had slipped from its grasp. Trade routes shifted. Gold production fluctuated. European maritime exploration along the Atlantic coast began bypassing trans-Saharan networks altogether. The same global dependency that once empowered Mali now contributed to its marginalization. Slowly, the empire faded from prominence. Today, the legacy of the Mali Empire lives on in modern West African culture, scholarship, and identity. The ancient manuscripts of Timbuktu continue to astonish historians. The story of Mansa Musa challenges outdated narratives about wealth and power in medieval Africa. Mali reminds us that global history is not linear, nor centered on a single continent. Empires rise in unexpected places. Wealth flows from unseen sources. Knowledge flourishes beyond familiar capitals. When we look back honestly, we see that the medieval world once depended on a so-called forgotten empire, and its influence quietly shaped the course of global civilization.